cycle back here with another album review, and this time it's to Madison Beer. And if you don't know who Madison Beer is, she's pretty much one of the more upcoming, young, rising, upcoming pop acts. Pop acts and R&B is dabbling more into especially into this project, a lot more smoother, wavy vocal aesthetic in R&B. In the modernized era, and she pretty much dropped her third studio album entitled Locket. Now, songs on this album that pretty much have been already been put out, have been put out recently for songs such as, of course, Yes Baby, which she pretty much posted that on Instagram, had that caption post, and this is, of course, and then also her second single called Bittersweet, and which she also made that song and also put that song out there after the album announcement on Instagram. And then, of course, the 10th song, which appeared with the song Make You Mine. That was also one of the bigger songs that's on this album, which is, I'm really surprised that came out, that's still on this album, because that song came back out and she made that back in 2024, and that was a couple of years ago. So I'm pretty surprised that was even on this record. And don't get me wrong, it was a really decent song. I like the melodies, I like the vocals, I like her voice, and I like the arrangement around that record. But to me, I feel like that record just did not really feel like it was made and fit to fit in this album. Now, I'll just kind of go through a little bit of the concept what she said for this record. She said she picked up the name thinking that things were just real and genuine to me. All I was thinking of going through, rolling up my camera a lot, just seeing things I photographed. She says she most often to gravitate towards. I really enjoyed the vintage stuff. I really like antiques, love antiques. I feel like Lockets was very delicate and beautiful and feminine, and they hold important things, memories and people and places. And it just felt like the right title, even before she picked it, and she made the rounds as she was written in the whole album. And I really like that, how she explains this. And from the process of coming up with it, because that's kind of how I picked up on it. Especially, she's talking about a lot of precious, valuable things from people and places, and undoing. And I really feel like she was going through a lot of that, and she was exploring and explaining and exploring a lot of these things as I'm cycling and surfacing through the album. She really was going through a lot, going through the records. Now, the last single that she kind of released before that was the title track 15 minutes, which she did as a standalone. But my favorite song will probably be the intro Locket theme. And of course, she's on a few of these songs as a credited producer. But I really like the lines in here where she says, "Did you miss me? I like to pretend you did. I was crying lately. I know you can picture it. I had to leave you be and see how you felt about that. And if you don't hear from me, it don't mean I love you less. I had to get this off my chest. I've been searching but the answer's right in front of me. My protection divine, and now I see the paintings on my necklace. Set it down. I'm weightless. Everything that I can ever need is within me." Yeah, and so like I said in the beginning, I like the fact that she kind of picks up more of just the valuable and the possession of, just like I said, how she sees and what she feels and how she sees in certain people, certain places and things, behind the theme. And you can just tell from just the way the intro came off, she really was running through a whole thing about just how she values commitment, how she really values that, and how she values commitment and just in people, how she values just the relationships established and everything. I like the fact that she goes through that and tackles that also in here. It really feels valuable. It really feels potent. And I also really like the production in that record as well. It really came off very vibrant, very somber, very apropos, very self-sufficient. It felt self-absorbed and less self-absorbent. I really like that. Now let's go to the song Angel Wings, because that was the third song, and I really like that one here. I really like the lines in here where she says, "Don't know where you go. The nights we get so cold, but you go and I say goodbye. I hate you, I can't kiss you, but I do if I miss you, and I bury you down inside." And then I like the hook kind of like refrain where she kind of goes, let me see the chorus, but in the chorus in the refrain where she goes, "Dead to me, how as I answer when you check on me. When I talk to you, I'll say rest in peace. I know it's sad, it's a tragedy, and it's dead to me." And it kind of is goes in there, and it's easier pretending you like you have angel wings. How she pretty much is referring to, um, how she refers to refrain of a relationship being more tragic, being more predominantly just not to her benefit to her liking, but she wants to see the positive side. She wants to see the positivity. She wants to feel like she feels more valuable. She feels more self-absorbed and reliant. And I really like that about that. I really like that about the record and in the chorus. And I really thought that was really interesting and really compelling. As far as her refrain and how she feels like the relationship and committed, how she feels like, she wants to see the brighter side of things, the positive outlook on things, and how, she wants to feel like she has like some sort of, and as a metaphor, speaking of angel wings, like she wants to like fly away into it. So I thought that was pretty compelling and interesting. Oh, hey, how's it going? But yeah, I thought that was compelling, interesting from that record, and a few records in here I really like was the song "Healthy Habit." And I like in this verse where she kind of goes, "It's not a lack of options, and I don't see a problem pretending I'm yours. I'm not. It's not a healthy habit like smoking in the kitchen and romanticizing you." And I like in the chorus, "I wonder if it's worth doing again, and I wonder if it's worth doing it again. And I wonder if it's not desperation, harmless inspiration. It's not a healthy habit like kissing random boys and pretending like they're you." Pretty much is kind of going through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows and woes of like how she feels like she's trying to find her way of actually getting back out there, really getting back out there and feeling like just trying to be more healthier, more clean, more serene, and feel like don't want to go through any kind of bad habits to really kind of go through any kind of indulgence. And from her last record, Silence Between Songs, which just came out in 2023, she kind of felt more like she was just at a roadblock, at a breaking point. I feel like now she feels like she's trying to get into a comfortable space. And with this album, she feels with this Locket record, I feel like the more comforting and more places and more spacious and the things that she pretty much values is more precious to her than anything. And let me get to the last song of my favorites on here, and that is Complexity. That's my last song that I'm gonna talk about that I really like. Um, I like this in this verse. It says, "All of my fine complexities, the baggage I turn into beauty. I have a way, a tendency, and I tend to stay with people who leave. But how could I expect you to love? How when you pretend like you don't love yourself? How can I expect you to want me when you want nothing for yourself? Remember the time that you served me and you made a joke, and what did you mean? I look in the mirror and you don't want you to see. Wish I could forget what you said to me." And I like in this lines too because she pretty much is going through like how she feels perplexed about, she feels like she's leaving like leftover baggage. Like she feels like she wants to leave. She feels like she wants to just be over other like bad habits and tendencies with other guys. But then at the same time she's complex, but because she doesn't want to just straight go for it. She wants to feel like she wants to be fully engaged and fully self reliant. But then she also is kind of looking at herself and hold accountability, where it's not about just the guy how he wants to. You gotta love yourself and love and value yourself, but she also wants to value in her own complexity and her insecurity. Wants to value her own self secured and wants to value herself more, love herself more, just as much as uh, she looks at the guy in a sense that he wants to love himself in such a way, and not feel more like it's a bad merit. So I kind of took that from there and took that from the record. I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty engaging. So, and I like I said, the baggage that turned into beauty. I thought that was a really, really cool way, a really, really solid line in here. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I took from it. Just kind of like looking at life and complexities, looking at guys, and how they are not really, how she doesn't feel like committed, doesn't really fully, they have the same chemistry, and I just thought that made the record, it made the record so potent and powerful, which she kind of just refers to like life's complexities, how she refers to just complexities with with this one guy and other guys and other relationships that she had in the past. I thought that was pretty interesting and unique. Um, so yeah, I thought that was pretty unique. I thought that was pretty engaging. So yeah, that was my last favorite song. But yeah, pretty much get into the album, it was a lot of smooth, wavy, more melodic, more poppier, but at the same time more smooth, wavy vocal R&B aesthetics, and also vocal arrangements that felt very live. It felt very potent. It felt very outgoing outgoing and very much outspoken. And I like the songwriting and the potency of it because she's really just tackling certain things and certain values of what she wants and what she desires and what she hopes for. And I think because she's more or less looking at the precious values and things and other areas and spaces that she sees and she wants to see in people. So she like as she was saying and as the title says in his own album, she really wants to value her own self, love herself, and enjoy the finest things out of life that really is self-proclaiming and self-proclaiming and self and being less self-indulgent. And I think that was very interesting, and I think that was very perplexing, and I think that's very not perplexing, but I think that's very potent. I think that's very more much valuable, and I think that's very important to look at yourself, not just in the first and third person, but look at yourself in the mirror and just wonder, like, man, why can I be in this, be self-committed to your own encompass, to your own due diligence. So yeah, and she looks at the album, and she looks at the locket, the actual precious necklace and everything as a value, as something that she thinks holds dearly and holds as important to her. And in this album, she kind of like just from the intro and then Angel Wings and Complexity, she's trying to just look at her own life perspective and look at it in a way where it feels like she's trying to be more abhorrent and abrasive in the forefront. So yeah, overall, I get this album so far. I was listening to it, and since it came out a couple of weeks ago, been listening to it ever since. I get this album so far probably a 3 out of 4 stars. I think it's really nice. I think it's really solid. Um, I highly recommend it. You definitely check it out. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below. And yeah, I am out. Peace.